fully ready to hear what Angela has to say today, but I'm going to start. I'm Reverend Beverly Pryor. I'm saying that more for the video than anything. And Angela Taylor is going to be collaborating on this talk today. So I'm just going to start it off. I showed you this last week, but I just want to remind you, in John 1:1, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And God, that's one of those words that we've shrink wrapped into this form that sometimes we don't even like the word, because the absolute substance, the universe, source, all of those words, the great mystery, they're all broader and bigger and really a better representation, because God's kind of been anthropomorphized and put on a cloud. And we know that that's not true. So today, Angela and I are going to talk with you about what this energy, this field that we call God, what it really matters, why it matters, our words. And Charles Fillmore was one of the founders of Unity, he and his wife Myrtle. And he said, words are also seeds. And when dropped into the invisible spiritual substance, they grow and bring forth after their kind. How do we drop a seed into the invisible spiritual substance? With our thoughts first, and then our words. And we call this the law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind produced after their kind. It's really, I often bring in brain science and all that sort of thing. There's a lot of evidence that this is actually what happens. It's not just some little phrase or cliche. So last week I was talking, we talked a little bit about what we'd be talking about this week, and Michael and I were talking afterwards, and he goes, oh, cymatics. So is anybody else familiar with cymatics? No? One? Yeah? Okay, so I'm just going to talk about it real quick. In Greek, the word means this word, I don't know what that word is in Greek, but it means wave, a wave, which we know that there are waves and particles in the field in quantum physics. It's the study of visible sound and vibration, which is a subset of modal phenomena, which is integration of all the senses. And so the fact that energy can produce images, and I'll show you some here. These are images produced. Now, the way they do this is they put sand or water, and they introduce hertz to a metal plate. And the movement of that energy, that hertz, creates these different images. And if you could, I don't know if you can see it well enough to see that up on the top, what's this for you, left, it's the simplest one at 345 hertz. And then the hertz continue to increase, and the images get more complex with the higher the hertz. Isn't that amazing? So think about that. This is vibration. This is energy. Our voice, our words, our thoughts are vibratory, and they create. Now these are images from Dr. Emoto's book, Hidden Messages in Water. Did anybody ever read that back in the day? I think it's from the 80s or something. But what he introduced was that thank you, wisdom, you can see the positive things, angel, I love you, all create these beautiful crystalline shapes in the water. And he used, I think it was like a dark microscope or something pretty powerful to capture these images. But he also said, if you see these that are marked, you fool, or evil, or you make me sick, these are giving discordant images because of the energy of it. And also polluted water before prayer and polluted water after prayer. So those words, that intention that we put with prayer and our thoughts, actually it takes form in the world. And this is Dr. Emoto's work. However, this is really interesting, and I looked her up after we talked last week, Michael. this lady, she calls herself a crystallographer. So she does this with her iPhone in her own freezer. So she doesn't let it freeze solid. It's just when the top of the water, it's still liquid underneath, but she captures images. And what she's gone on, not only words, but also images that are near the water. The water is taking on the life and the energy of the object. And she's very interesting, Veda Austin. You should look up some of her. She has if you've ever seen Know Thyself podcast, she has a very long interview on there with Andre Ducombe, I think his name is. But it's a really good interview. But she does this. Now, she's not a scientist, but she speaks to scientists because she's capturing these images and they reflect the energy of the things that she's putting near the water. Pretty amazing work. Why does it matter? Because we're creating all the time. I showed you this slide last week and I wanted to reuse it. This is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle in quantum physics. Reality is not fixed. What you think that you see and experience in your life is not fixed. It's not a done deal. You are always creating, always. And you can recreate and you can start anew all the time by being aware of your thoughts and words. He says it's not fixed, it's influenced by observation and consciousness. And we know that even when we took our high school science classes, we know that they taught us that the observer and the expectations of that person conducting an experiment have everything to do with the outcome. And this was the slide that I showed last week, DNA voice signatures of various words. Aren't they beautiful? These are all positive words: awakening, truth, infinity, love. Now, this image I captured from a trailer of a movie that I want you all to look this up. You can find it on YouTube. It's called The One Field. It's a really interesting, and they just updated it and made it fresh. But it's put out, I think it was produced and somehow affiliated with the HeartMath Institute. So it matters, the thoughts and the words. Your words are creating, and can't you see the connection with the proof through cymatics and the other things? So this is something that Lao Tzu said way long time before Jesus. He said, one who speaks does not know. And one who knows does not speak. So one who speaks is using a lot of words, excess, a lot. And you know when somebody comes in the room and they say, oh, I'm late because, and they give you a long story. It's probably not very true because they've got to give you so many details. But somebody who comes in and just apologizes is usually feels bad about being late, but you can trust what they're saying. But what it's really saying is those who know the power of their words. So they use fewer of them and they're selective because they know that they're creating all the time. So in this line of thought, I'm going to turn it over to Angela to talk to you about gratitude.
Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Esther. All right, so most of us have likely heard about the benefits of gratitude, of practicing gratitude. Even from a mental health standpoint, studies have shown that gratitude increases level of happiness, it reduces levels of anxiety, and it helps alleviate feelings of loneliness even. And we also know that from a spiritual perspective, that when we practice gratitude, it increases our awareness of the abundance that is. You look for all the things that you can be grateful for. And at the same time, it necessarily doesn't have to be that you're grateful for something. I like the way that late Unity Minister Eric Butterworth talks about this. And he says that the question that should be asked is, what do I have to give thanks from? What do I have to be grateful from, not for? And he goes on to say, we do not need something to be grateful for. We can be grateful because we are full of greatness, because we are in tune with our consciousness of the oneness of God. We can be grateful not just for our many blessings, not just for the way people treat us, not just for the abundance that God has brought, but we can be grateful from the consciousness that we are forever, ceaselessly in tune with the divine flow. So even if you feel like life's not going the way you would like it to go, and there's nothing you can truly point to say, I'm grateful for this, we can all come from this, this consciousness of gratitude. And gratitude in that way is this internal private practice. You don't ever really have to speak a word to get these benefits of gratitude. But as we were talking about, words are important. And so gratitude does not have to stay private. It can be shared with others. And there are also benefits of sharing these words with others. Studies have shown that when you express gratitude to another person, it strengthens that connection with the person. Because when you show your appreciation to them, they recognize that appreciation and they appreciate you appreciating them. And as you've heard the phrase go, what you appreciate appreciates, which means the things that you put appreciation to, it increases in value. And so when you show appreciation to your loved ones, you're saying, I value you, and it increases that value. And they recognize that you're giving them that appreciation, and they appreciate you back. And so they increase their value for you as well. So it strengthens those bonds. At the same time, in addition to those just social levels, it also helps society when we share words of gratitude with other people, because there is, in fact, that gratitude is actually quite contagious, they say. When you express gratitude to someone else, it creates this kind of ripple effect where they are more likely to express gratitude to someone else, and then that person to someone else. It reminds me of, I don't know if you all were here when Russ showed that video of the stone being thrown into the pond and the ripples that came afterwards. That gratitude you're giving to someone is that stone, and it's dropping into the pond, and you just can't tell how far those ripples are going to go just from that one expression of gratitude. And now from a spiritual perspective, we can also use gratitude as a way to bless other people. And so I know there's a traditional way of looking at to bless, but I wanted to look up the metaphysical meaning of bless. And so in the revealing word, it says that bless is to invoke good upon, to call forth the action of God, to confer God's good on something or someone. So I'm going to unpack that a little bit, because I actually had to look up a few of these words to really understand what Charles Fillmore was trying to say with this. So to invoke good upon, that invoking good. There are many different definitions for invoke, but I like the one that basically says, like, it just declares that something is. So when you express a word of gratitude, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me yesterday. I really appreciate that. You are basically acknowledging that good is in that person and it is here. Just like, again, when you are coming from that presence of gratitude, you're recognizing the abundance and the good that always is. So you were basically saying, it is here. So you were invoking that good. This next one, to call forth the action of God. Kind of like Beverly was saying, if you don't believe there's some deity out there that you need to call forward, say, put some blessings over here, please. That's not quite how it works. We know that that presence is everywhere present, including in us. And so we are individualized expressions of God, or a presence, universe. We are that in action. And so when we express gratitude to other people, we are not only doing that action ourselves, but we are, I believe, stirring up something in other people. Not sure if you have anything you can bring to mind of someone expressing gratitude to you and what it possibly brought up in you. The thing that comes to mind for me is actually the story that Jeannie shared a couple of Sundays ago when you went to that Karen Drucker conference and walked in the room and someone whispered in your ear, you are loved and you are a blessing. I think you said it was kind of like a jolt that you felt, like it gave you a little bit more energy. And that's like calling forth the qualities and the actions of God in other people when you recognize and see them for what they've done and you express that gratitude to them. And then this last one, to confer God's good onto something or someone. This one I struggled with a little bit because confer means to give or to grant, to bestow. And I'm like, well, the good is already there. So it sounds to me like you're basically taking from your unlimited supply of good and giving to someone else's unlimited supply of good. You lose nothing when you show gratitude to someone, and they get something added to their infinite supply of good. And so expressing words of gratitude is a way to just transfer infinite to infinite, I guess. It's my way of looking at it. And so these are all the ways that when you share words of gratitude with other people, it helps other people, it helps the world, and it's a way to bless them. But I want to have just a quick thought experiment. So we're talking about interacting with other people, but let's imagine that you are stranded on a desert island There are no other people around. You're not desperate. There's food, there's shelter, you'll live, it's fine. And you can do your private gratitude practice there. But is there a need to speak words out loud of gratitude to yourself when no one else is around to hear them? I would like to argue yes. You say that too? Yeah. There are probably many reasons why you might want to say yes, but I would say it has to, you get all the benefits, obviously, of what you get from sharing gratitude with other people. But I also feel that it goes to this part of you actually remember things better when you say them out loud. You can look this up. It's called the production effect. It basically means your mind, as it takes in information, it makes these little encodings in your brain and says, I'm going to store this in long-term memory. And the more ways that information gets into your body, the better it sticks. So thinking thoughts of gratitude, it gets in there. But when you say them out loud, you have to think the thoughts. You have to form the words with your vocal cords in your mouth. And then when you say the words out loud, your ears hear it again.
And it's a vibration.
And it's a vibration, like we were just saying. It's all, you're manifesting these vibrations.
Well, this is like what Beverly talked about, mirror practice.
Mm.
And it's important to say out loud, to speak out loud to your image.
Yes, it's important. And that's the point I believe as well. It's important to say these things out loud. Go for it.
There's one more you can add.
Yeah.
And I learned this in high school.
Yeah.
This is something that my teacher was very adamant about for this exact reason. This is how we learn through that repetition. So writing it, speaking it, writing it, seeing it.
Yep.
Hearing it back in your head.
Yep.
You did it like 4 or 5 times.
Exactly. And so I think all of this just is forming that memory of how grateful you are for yourself. Like just even basic things. I'm so grateful that I went to bed at a reasonable time last night. So I woke up feeling so refreshed, right? Just gets that in your memory to go to bed a little earlier, to continue that gratitude. And so I think it's important, even if you're not stuck on a desert island, you do have those quiet moments by yourself, whether you're driving along somewhere in the bathroom, looking at the mirror. I still feel it's important. You can still say those words of gratitude to get that in your memory, to remind yourself of the good that is you. And so that's pretty much all I had to say about gratitude. This just shows that whether you're doing it as a private practice, you're sharing it out loud with other people, or even just being grateful to yourself, it is something, a practice I believe is useful for all of us. So thank you.
Sharing your insights. Can we turn my mic on?
Oh.
Thank you. Really, really great, Angela. Okay. So why does it matter, right? You've seen this. This is the torus field. This is our energy field around us. This is borrowed from the HeartMath Institute. Their website is full of videos and courses and free download of books and all kinds of information to reinforce these ideas. But they're focused here on the heart, and that's that magnetic field around our bodies from the heart. But that magnetic field is affected by our thoughts. It's, the things that come from your heart. When you're having gratitude for yourself, you're opening that heart field. You're expanding that energy from your heart. And why is it important? Because we all are in a field and we overlap. And ultimately, that field is just one field, as in that movie. And when you go watch that, let me know. So it's important that we remember who we are. We are spiritual beings in a human form. But first of all, we're spiritual because that's a part of us that is eternal and infinite and never has a beginning or an end. Or if you believe in reincarnation, it has many beginnings and many ends. But we are one life. So remember what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. He says, thoughts are electric and emotions are magnetic. So your thoughts are putting that wave out into the field, and it is taking form. Now the scientists, the quantum physicists that study time are now saying that they think that time is not linear, but folded in upon itself, so that this moment is also every moment that came before and every moment that is to come. And if you are creating in this moment, then the unfolding is already now. That's amazing. Look how powerful you are. And let's not squander the power. Let's become aware of our thoughts and how we're feeling about something, and whether or not something that we say or think or do resonates with us, makes us feel in a good way as opposed to feel in an uncomfortable way. Feelings are very informative. So let your thoughts and your words be a blessing in the field and to the world. Let your thoughts and your words be a blessing in the field and thus to the world, right? There's no separation. So this week, your practice is to bless everything twice. So when you think someone's trying to cut you off in traffic, don't curse them, bless them, and then take a breath and bless them again. Because sometimes we say, somebody sneezes and we say, bless you, and it's automatic. But if you stop and you take a breath and you bless them again, it's conscious. So bless them twice. Use affirmative language. And I just like it, this one, it's simple. I am love. And if you can be grateful for yourself and claim I am love, then your actions and your thoughts and your words will follow that vibration. Bless situations and people silently. Just know whatever's going on. If someone calls you up or you hear about something, try not to go into the, oh, it's so terrible. You know, don't do the Mr. Bill. Anybody remember Saturday Night Live, Mr. Bill? Oh, we went down the tube. You can do that with your thoughts and your words so quickly, especially when we sympathize with people who are struggling. We're not really helping them. So bless the situation silently. Listen, but don't get in on all of that with them. And then speak to conditions with truth. You know, what does that mean? That means I know how it appears, and I also know truth prevails in whatever the situation is. So let's say a few affirmations here to close out. Can you see this on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. My words are creative. I speak with love, clarity, and divine power. And the last one, I bless the world and the world blesses me. Because as Angela said, that infinitely flowing back and forth, and gratitude is a beautiful way to keep that energy flowing. So thank you all today, and thank you, Angela, for giving us your contribution of wisdom. This is the opportunity to give. So Dave will come around, and just know that you can always mail it in. You can go online and give. You can use our QR code. You can point it at the screen if you're online, or you can pick up one off the table. But whatever you have to offer today in form of monetary contribution, because we all know that this is also energy, just hold it in your hand. And even if you're giving online on a regular basis, because some people have that set up, still hold this in your hand. This is consciousness. We're focusing on blessing what it is that we give. And we'll say this together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send it forth with my blessings and my love. And that last statement take on a new